All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Hardscape Growth Show. Uh, this is a podcast that is built for business leaders working in the trenches, trying to find success, trying to grow their business, either growing revenues or growing profits or growing a team. And today I'm super excited because we have some of the hungriest and youngest guys in the game right now. We have Alex Mewshaw and Danny Hoff from Oasis. You guys may know them from Instagram, where you can follow them at Build Oasis. Guys, thanks a lot for joining me on the show today.
Of course.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited to be here.
Cool. I'm excited to talk with you guys today because you guys have this like young entrepreneurial spirit and energy and fire about you guys. I know that you just started the business just a couple years ago, right, Alex?
Yep. February of 2019. March of 2019.
So really 2 years in business. I know you guys are doing fantastic numbers. You've done some really interesting projects. One of the things that really piqued my interest in saying, like, we got to get these guys on the show is I saw a YouTube video with you guys earlier this year. I think it was this summer. And one of the things, I think the thumbnail of the video on YouTube was $500,000 in debt. And I was like, did I miss a memo or something? Or when is that like a badge of honor for founding a business? So I wanted to talk to you guys because I know you're in your early 20s and you're really, you're kicking ass out there. I want to know like what the mindset is and what is that $500,000 in debt all about?
Yeah, it's funny. It got your attention though, right? When you saw that come across your screen.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a video on YouTube. There's a buddy of mine. He does YouTube. His name's Tigran Gertz. If anyone wants to watch that video, it's just like a walkthrough of a job we did and just talk a little bit about kind of what we're doing. But
we'll put a link to that video
starting off the business.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, starting off the business, I didn't have a lot of cash reserves to be able to go and just start buying equipment cash. So, if we wanted to scale to be able to complete larger projects and have more and more crews on the road, so there's kind of only one way of doing that. And debt, in my opinion, and in a lot of people that I've spoken with that are successful business people, is not a bad thing. Of course, if you're getting a loan at a super high interest rate for something not the smartest to buy, like a Lamborghini or a sports car or something, it's not the best thing. But if you're getting a debt at a good interest rate for a piece of equipment that's going to make you money, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you have 2 employees and you have $500,000 in debt, that's probably not the smartest thing to do. But if you have 5, 8, 10 people, you can pay the note no problem. And yeah, that's definitely something that's helped us grow a lot. Don't get me wrong. Of course, it'd be nice not to have any equipment payments and any truck payments, but it's kind of that's how it is. I
find that interesting because there's really like 2 schools of thought on debt and buying equipment. There's one school that looks at it and says, hey, if I don't have the cash to pay down and just pay the whole thing up front, I'm not buying it. And then there's this other school that you're a part of that looks at it and says, okay, well, what's this investment costing me? What's the interest rate? Can I earn more by having this pieces of equipment working on my job sites to pay? Like, can I earn more than this thing cost me, basically, is the math that you do. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. And another thing to take into factor is like maintenance on the equipment and repairs. So, if you go buy a brand new piece of equipment cash, okay, you're not going to have to deal with repairs. But the other thing is you can get financing for a brand new, like the skid steer that I got was $0 down. It was right when coronavirus started, no payments for 3 months and like 1.7% interest. So, that's literally free money. So, I think inflation is like 2%. It's literally free money. So, that's one part of it. The other thing is maintenance. So say you go buy a used piece of equipment for $20,000, you buy it cash. You don't have a payment on it, but you're going to have costly repairs down the road. And I can build projects, but I'm not a mechanic. And maybe I can figure some stuff out, but I'm going to spend hours and hours trying to figure it out to save money. And then now I'm taking time away from my bread and butter of what we do, and having to worry about it. So I see there's a lot of more pros that I see to having new equipment, and the payment is not a big deal compared to all the pros that you have of, nice equipment that works. You don't have to worry about breakdowns. You don't have to worry about repairs and maintenance. And something else is having new stuff is a big part of like the culture. Your guys like to come in, use nice stuff, nice trucks, keep it clean, and they enjoy it for sure. What do you think?
I think that's really interesting. So,
Brand is definitely important.
Yeah.
The brand for your company, having nice new equipment rolling down the road, showing up on the job sites, it projects an image of success and quality, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest jobs, actually, that video that you saw about the $500,000 in debt, we met with her last fall, and I guess it was fall of 2019. But she was honest with us. She said, "You're bidding against another company," and she kind of looked at. We showed up in a newer Ford Escape, which is the bidding car that I drive around, and the other company showed up in an old beat-up F-250. And she said, "You guys look a little bit more professional showing up. You're in collared shirts, all that kind of stuff." So that it's all about brand and showing people that you take care of your own stuff, because that means you're going to take care of them as well.
That's a super interesting point, because actually I assume, and to tell me if I'm wrong, but I assume that part of that $500,000 in debt is not just big trucks and excavation equipment and compaction equipment and saws and whatever. There's marketing assets, there's some branding elements, there's uniforms for the guys. I see you guys are rocking all the Oasis swag. I'm assuming that's all part of that startup cost, the way you looked at it.
100%. 100%. There's probably another $250,000 of stuff that we've paid cash, just like when we've done jobs and our profits, that we've reinvested into the company. So there's more money than we've spent on the business besides just the debt that we have for the business of having everything branded. Like, funny story, second dump trailer, I got a bright orange trailer. So I used to work for a landscape company, and they had orange shirts, and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Like, I'll do the same thing. And then I was like, I got my first dump trailer, it was black, and then I was ordering the second one, and the guy's like, what color do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I was like, let's just do orange. So now it's like everything we buy is orange. Like, the wall behind us is painted orange. All the jackets are orange. Like, everything's orange, which is it's crazy how, like, yeah. And, like, when I got that first trailer, all we had at this time, I think, was 2 trucks, the one orange trailer and the one black trailer. And the amount of people were like, oh, my God, I see your trailer and your trucks, or your trailers and trucks everywhere, this big orange thing. And I'm like, I only have one orange trailer, but it's just so noticeable. And we have this huge sign on the back. So, and it's new, shiny. So, I mean, that's just something kind of funny about, like, branding and you kind of sticking with the colors. And now we just do orange everything. Like, I literally have, these are folders for the guys to write their hours down and, like, job costing jobs. All right, order orange ones on Amazon. Why not? So,
yeah, well, that was one of the things that, like, that investment was part of it. But, like, even looking at your Instagram feed, like, there's an identity. Looking at your website, there's an identity to the company, to the brand, and that's super important, especially when you're starting. Like, you got to know who you are and what you're trying to build. So I like that you weren't scared to make those investments and really you just went all in and said, like, look, we're going to project this image of quality, of confidence. You can trust us. You touched on something else, though, that I find super interesting, which was the effect that it has on your team. Now, you're year 2 in business. You had to build a team basically from scratch, right? So having this equipment and having this image, does that make it easier for you?
You want to add something? I feel like I'm the only one talking.
I mean, it's definitely easier once the guys get here. It's hard to find good guys. Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of people struggle when they try to grow. It's hard to find 100 great employees because the quality goes down. But once they're here and they see the environment that we're trying to build, they're all into it. It's the new equipment, the uniforms, just doing great work. And they enjoy themselves doing cool stuff that they didn't do with other companies. We have our guys all the time. I'll show them designs that, like, I'm bidding, and they're like, man, I hope we get that job. That looks awesome. they see us trying to do unique stuff and they want to build it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, let me add to that. They take pride in, because a lot of our guys, I mean, all of our guys have a lot of experience, so they've worked for multiple different companies in the area, and a lot of the guys are doing a herringbone 6x9 patio with a charcoal border. So they like we'll do like a triple border and inlays. Not that we're the only people in the world doing it, but around here, not as many people are doing it. So they definitely take pride in that for sure. But something else about having new stuff and helping with that culture, us being young dudes, like all of our employees are older than us, I think, except for one or two. So like, it's a big factor where if I'm looking to hire someone, hey, come by the shop and let's talk. Okay, they see that we have trucks, we have trailers, we have an office now, so like we're legit. We're not just like gonna bring some dude on for 2 weeks and then run out of work and then he doesn't have a job. Because like even some of my first guys, like I've asked him, I'm like, hey, like what'd you think when you first came and talked to me? He's like, I don't know, I was kind of hesitant because you were a young guy, you had like one truck, one trailer. He's like, I have a family that I have to worry about. I don't want to be screwed for some reason. So it definitely helps with getting that higher tier employee.
So it's projecting that same image of confidence and quality, not just to potential customers, but also to potential teammates that you're looking to bring on.
Yeah, that's
so
a good way to put it.
That's super interesting. When you look at the investment, right, and I touched on this really quickly. I said you look at how much it costs and how much can it earn. But like, can you share with our listeners like how you go about doing that? How you make the decision to buy a brand new skid steer, let's say, or whatever piece of equipment you want to use as an example? How to buy it versus lease it versus just rent it versus buying a used one? Like, how do you do that thinking?
So that's a good question. So buying versus leasing. I mean, I'm not like a CPA, so I know there's a lot of different tax advantages to doing different things, and honestly, I don't know that much about it. I'm trying to buy what I can because I want to pay down the loan and then build equity in it, and then either sell it and buy a new one or keep it and pay it off, depending on how used it is. And there's been times where I couldn't get financing for stuff, or I didn't even apply for financing, and I just went and got a month-to-month lease for a truck. Like this summer, we had 2 trucks that were just month-to-month leases, which they were $1,500 a month payment, which people would be like, you're crazy, but that's all the maintenance. Don't have to worry about tires. Like, they do everything on it, and I can give it back to them whenever. So we don't have them anymore because we're going into the winter. We still have work, but we don't need those extra trucks. So something like that, and that $1,500 a month is nothing compared to what the crew can produce. 3 to 4 guys can make $15,000 a week. So, I mean, that's not all profit, but still, like, $1,500 a month is nothing for that. I'll try and finance it, but I can't. If I can't, then I'll buy it. Something I did with the first ditch witch was a lease to purchase. So like, it's like a rental or a lease, but they save every monthly payment that you make, and then they roll it into a down payment. So there's a lot of creative ways to finance stuff out there. And with the ditch witch, you could pay 3 months and then say, hey, I don't want this anymore. Of course, you don't get your money back, but you just rented it for 3 months.
Yeah, you did use
and
it.
you're not committed to buying.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about buying used
there's
stuff?
definitely creative ways out there. What's that?
What about buying used stuff? A lot of guys buying used because the initial depreciation is gone. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely perks to that. I mean, I have friends that buy their trucks used at auctions. I mean, they're always fixing them up and they're all beat up. So it just depends on what you want. I mean, I like nice, clean stuff. I mean, we bought a roll-off dumpster truck. That's a 2014. It's got like 100 and something thousand miles, but it's a diesel. So, like, I mean, we'll buy used stuff, especially a bigger piece of equipment like that. But, I mean, I think for the trucks and skid steers, like stuff that you're running every day, I mean, most of the time you can get stuff financed for such a cheap, like you shouldn't be scared of a payment, especially if it's a very cheap interest rate, because it's going to make you money, So, and I look at it, the more stuff we get, the more we grow. I'm just setting a bigger and bigger fire under my ass to keep working harder. So
I think that's key too, right? Like when you know you have bills to pay, it's a really strong motivator to get up and get to work.
Yeah,
and to keep growing the business too, right?
And clean stuff out. Yep.
I have a couple questions that I want to run through, and I want to get this from everyone that we talk to, because I think that there's a lot of opinions in the industry, and there's a lot of ways to do things. And I think just, looking at anyone who works in this business, there are so many different ways to build a business, to run a business, to sell designs, to sell projects, even to build things. There's many different ways to build things, and they all work, and they're all good. So one of the first questions I want to ask is like, what's one of the things that like seems to be common knowledge or a common belief across the industry that you guys just disagree with? Like, everyone's going left, we're going right because of this.
Free consultations and free designs.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
That's
You wanna expand on
100%
that a
free
bit?
consultations. Yeah, free consultations ruin. Well, why do I have to pay you $50? Why do I have to pay you $100 to come show up? Because I'm driving to your property. I'm going to spend at least 30 minutes to an hour with you, and I'm going to give you advice that is like, you don't know this. Google isn't going to be able to tell you based on your exact property. Well, Joe's Landscaping isn't going to charge me for that. Okay, well, have a good day. I mean, it's a good way to find your ideal client, and also you're getting paid before you even show up. As for the designs, designs take a long time. I don't know how anybody doesn't charge for them. I know a lot of pool companies will throw together free pool designs, but that's just the pool in the middle of a grass area. That's not up against the house. You don't really know what it's going to look like. But the designs, it takes so much time, and there's changes and things like that. That's probably the biggest thing, in my opinion, that we're trying to steer clear of everybody else.
So like, what's the difference between...
Nailed it on the head.
There you go. What's the difference between like, because there's some people who like, they'll charge for a consultation, but they'll do a free estimate, let's say. Is that something that you guys consider, or any client meeting, if it's in that initial stage, you kind of throw it all in that same bucket?
So when we have an office manager, Amy, when she gets a phone call or a lead come to the email, she will call them or answer the phone, obviously, and she'll see what they want. If they fit what we're looking to do, she'll proceed to ask questions and stuff. And she said, hey, just want to let you know, the design fees, if your project requires a design, range from anywhere from like $600 to $2,000. This year, we're hoping to bump that up, but that's what she had said last year. And then if they say yes, she says, okay, also, I want to let you know there is a $50 consultation fee for them to come out. That is required, the design, not so much. And if they say yes to the consultation fee, then that's good. I mean, we were at the point in the summer where we were booked out pretty good, and we had overbooked ourselves. And we implemented that consultation charge just to try it out. And my calendar was still just jam-packed of appointments. So people are definitely willing to pay, especially when you brand yourself. This is going back to branding. When people want you to do the work, they're going to pay.
Go for it. It's scary to do it at first. Like, Danny's like, let's start charging the consultation fee. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. And then it's like, we were so busy.
That's the tap of business coming in. What do you mean? You want to turn a valve on it? Like, no.
Exactly. Because I'm like, bring me as many leads as we'll do whatever. But we just couldn't handle it all. And so it was Danny's idea. And it's great because it holds the client accountable, because the amount of times you spend time to go to a client's house and then they're not there is the most annoying thing ever. And I mean, of course, people have emergencies and stuff, but when you just show up and they're not there, it's horrible. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I mean, it's not too bad when you're just looking at, you get a little notification on your phone throughout the day. It's like $50, $50, $50. We're making $150 a day for doing something we were already doing. And it's not that we were doing something unethical. We're going and consulting people at their property, and then we're able to spend more time with those clients, and we're not wasting our time with other clients that aren't serious, so we can get them the proposal that day, and we can spend a little bit more time on looking for materials or coming up with ideas. I think there's a lot of aspects to that, and it's scary to do it. We didn't do it at first, but it's definitely highly recommended, especially if you're super busy in the springtime. Just try it. Like, just try it for a week. Try it for a day. Just see what people say. But be confident when you're saying, hey, it's $50, and when they say you're crazy, you say, okay, that's fine. Like, here's 3 other companies that don't charge a consultation.
$50 is not that much.
If they're spending 10 G's on a patio, they can spend 50 on a consult. And don't get me wrong, we got, I think, 1 or 2 like bad reviews of people that were mad. But it is what it is.
Yeah, but like, and reviews is a whole other thing we could talk about. I'm just going to make a note. Maybe we'll come back to that. Maybe we'll save it for another episode. But like that charging for a consultation, I think it's super key because I'm a big fan of believing that we're in a market of abundance. There are more customers than you could ever do business with, period. Doesn't matter what business you have. There are more than you could do. There's more money than you could ever make. There's more stuff that you can ever build. Therefore, you can afford to be a little selective with who you do business with. And one of the ways is to say, like, look, in order to dance with us, you got to pay up front a small amount. And that's key, because if you're getting a lot of traffic to your website or to your Instagram or whatever channels you have, the phone's always ringing, you need to be able to have some kind of filter so that the best stuff comes through. So like you said, you can spend more time with the right people, the right customers, doing the designs that you like to do and that you're good at doing, that continue to elevate your whole game, continue to carve out your niche for you. And really make it clear, like, this is what Oasis does, and this is why you deserve to have our services and our designs and our teams at your house. And this is what that investment looks like.
I think you just hit a home run with that explanation.
And
that was perfect.
And a $50 consultation fee, like, we're just getting started. Like, I see us charging a $500 consultation fee eventually.
You definitely can.
I mean, not this year. We're going to bump it to $100 this year. Maybe we're going to double it next year. So, I mean, it's a whole nother revenue source, and if you're knowledgeable and you can creative and come up with ideas and you can sell them the vision, then people will pay. And that's all, Danny. You've got the vision.
Try to. I'm learning, building our style. But yeah.
But I think that's key too. You want to talk about that a little bit? Like, what is your style?
Definitely still trying to figure it out. Because I mean, we've gone from doing 20 by 15 patios to 6-figure hardscapes in a matter of 6 to 8 months. So, I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what our exact style is, because we're still not consistently getting those 6-figure leads. I mean, they're coming a lot more often, but I have to go back and forth with different job sizes, I guess. So it's hard to find a style that's consistent through the both of them. So, I mean, right now, if you look on our Instagram, almost every single job has the 6x13 border, the squadron, the 6x13 band. And that's just a little border. It's not anything crazy, but people look at that and they say, oh, Oasis did that. Something we've been getting into this year, we did 3 TV walls this year.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. A lot of people still comment on our Instagram and they're like, do you have to take the TV inside or outside every time you want to use it? No, it's an outdoor TV. A lot of people don't know outdoor TVs exist, which kind of blows my mind. But yeah,
well,
I mean
that
just
on
trying
its
to
own,
do that high end.
That's a comment just about like how many people don't know what they want. Period. Like, they don't know what they want, and they don't know what's available.
That right
to
there
them.
is why we charge a consult fee.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So keep
going. I mean, we're just trying to build a style of like high-end outdoor living areas, and there's a few around us, but they use all natural stone, which is, I guess, a little bit higher in cost, but there's also not as much variability in what you can do with natural stone.
Let me tap on that real quick, and you can keep going. There's plenty of big companies by us that are way bigger, way more successful than we are, but they're tailored towards like an older group of people almost. Like all of their stuff is more rustic, which is not a bad thing. But there's like landscape architects that'll design it. It'll be a lot of natural stone and stuff. So we're trying, part of our identity, our style, our brand is targeted towards like a younger audience, younger people that want a sweet spot in their backyard to hang out with.
So you know who you're going after, and you know what attracts them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, because there's so many different designs and stuff that you can do within pavers that people have never seen before, and they're like, "Oh my God, I want that." And that's why we stick to using Techo block, is just because. I mean, you guys are coming out with a triangular paver. I've never seen that before.
Danny was so excited about that.
I was very excited.
Pretty cool.
There's going to be some cool stuff possible with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that, like you say, you view using precast concrete like pavers and slabs and stuff like that almost as an advantage to your business, because you're up against these older businesses that are more established that probably win business just because of the name. Like they've been in business for 20, 30 years, and that's how they're viewed. Like that's the best one. and then you guys are coming in as the new guys. How do you differentiate? Well, you can go really loud with orange trucks like you do, but you can also get really creative with designs and do things that are truly unique. And to get really unique with natural stone requires a tremendous amount of craftsmanship that elevates the budget a lot. And it's not necessarily bringing a lot more value to the customer. But mixing things like Blue and Valiant Squadra, like you said, those are things that are perfectly modular. It's nice and easy to do. You're not breaking your head over measurements and cutting and whatever, but you're delivering something that's cool, it's unique to the customer, and that they value more than just a standard patio, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to go to their friend's house and have the same exact thing.
Exactly.
That's the main thing. We want everybody's job to be different. And the job where we use the Rosemont and the Borealis and all that different stuff with the outdoor kitchen, the first thing he showed me when I went to the consultation is, here's a picture from Pinterest. This is what we want. And it was all natural stone. I was like, well, let's be different. I ended up doing the design. I threw a putting green in there they didn't ask for, all the lighting and stuff like that. We ended up doing the entire design to full.
No kidding.
And what? No revisions, right?
Yeah.
One small revision.
It was like, can you move this plant here? And
like, let's just roll with it.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
So I want to dive into that though, because like we've already said, you've been in business for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people take years before they start picking up work that has things like an outdoor kitchen and a natural gas fire pit and seat wall and putting green and all this more customized outdoor living space stuff. How did you guys make that transition so quickly to where you're doing jobs that you like doing and they're pretty notable?
Yeah, so I want to add one little thing. So, like, I think a big reason maybe is people, one, they don't present it to the customer, so the customer doesn't even know it's available or can be done. Or two, they're asked to do it, but they're just not comfortable doing it. So, like, we're uncomfortable every single day, but you just got to commit and figure it out. So, like, yeah, you want outdoor kitchen? All right, we'll do it. We'll figure it out. There's so many resources between local suppliers, TechoBlock, just online, Google, YouTube videos. You can figure anything out. And a lot of that comes from designs that we do and coming up with it.
Yeah, I mean, like what I just said is, with that design, they didn't ask for putting green, but there was dead space in the yard, and I didn't want it to just be plants. I threw in a putting green.
Like did they mention that they like golf or
no, so actually they didn't mention anything about it. I remember I was walking up the driveway when I first got there. The garage was open, and I saw 1 or 2 golf bags. So I picked that up, and I was like, let's try it. And
did you tell them you were doing that, or you just put it in there?
I put it in the design and sent it over, and they were like, why is there a putting green in our backyard? I was like, do you like it? And they said yes. So it's
there you go.
Like Alex said, they don't know what's possible. So just being able to show them a 3D image of their house, and that goes back as well to charging for designs, putting the house in there and everything like that. Because you can just draw out a patio space, but how does that look up against the house with the colors of the siding, the brick, everything like that? They can see what it's actually going to look like and how to use the space. What I like doing a lot in my designs is putting furniture in there so they can actually see how the space is going to work, because everything's scaled.
Helps them understand the space, right? Because exactly like you said, like it's to scale, but they don't know how to visualize that space. They don't work in the same business that we do every day, where I can look at a drawing and you can too, and be like, yeah, okay, so that's about this big, and you can look in real life. The corner will be about there, that'll be about there. So putting furniture gives it a little bit more of a realistic or kind of helps them relate a bit more, I think.
And something cool, like a little design tip, what Danny does. So, and it works when people want a lot of more revisions. Danny will sell the design, do the design, and then schedule a Zoom call. Especially now with the coronavirus, he used to go over to their house. Zoom call is even easier. Set up a Zoom call with them, and then actually move stuff when they're on the screen. So like, hey, how does it look if we move the fireplace 4 feet that way? So that's really cool. And part of the design process, by the time we're done with the design process and going back and forth with the clients, you already create a relationship. Not that you're guaranteed to get the job, but even if you come in a little bit higher than the other client, they know that you're detail-oriented and then that you're going to execute, so they're happy to use you. But something else about committing and figuring it out later, which I wanted to add, the putting green. Had we ever done a putting green before?
Nope.
Had we ever done a pavilion before?
Nope.
Fireplace?
Nope.
We did a fire pit, but an outdoor barbecue.
Nope.
So like, I mean, it's
There's a first time for everything.
yeah, and I don't know if we have a pretty cool little like video edit of that job. I don't know if you can like plug it in here so people can see it since we're talking about it. Like, I don't know how that works. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, the homeowner found out. Me and him, he was a big Steelers fan. I'm a big Ravens fan. So we were always talking about football and hanging out in the back while the guys were working and stuff. And he was taking a look. He's like, man, it's looking really good. I said, well, I have a secret for you. This is our first putting green. It's our first gas fireplace. It's our first outdoor kitchen. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, do you like it? He's like,
I hope so.
damn right. So, I mean, it's all about being confident, taking that leap. Because if we weren't comfortable doing it, when would we ever say yes to a pavilion? When would we ever say yes to an outdoor kitchen?
That's
I
it.
mean, eventually you have to say yes.
And the pavilion, we subcontracted the pavilion out, so it's not like we built it all from scratch. So what we did
There you
was,
go. Well, I mean, that's a key thing right there.
yeah, and it looked beautiful. They came in a day. We did the footings, we did the permits, but they came in a day, threw it together. But we paid attention, and now we're building our own pavilion. Actually, we just framed out a pavilion at a job that we're doing, and it's I think 18 by 12 or something. Frame the roof out, watch some YouTube videos. It's not shingled yet, but it will be. We're gonna do the shingles ourselves too.
There you go. There's so many guys that I see doing that, and I think it's super smart. Like, if you're not sure and the budget permits it, get a subcontractor on, and the premium that you're paying your sub that could have been profit in your pocket if you were doing it yourself, you're getting paid to get training.
Mm-hmm.
Like, watch the guy, ask him questions, and you know what? When the job gets too, like, you learn how to take them on, and you take on a bunch of them yourself. But if it gets bigger than what you feel comfortable with, we'll get that guy back, and you have a long-lasting relationship where you're mutually benefiting from it. I think that's super smart, and not enough guys take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's hard to do if you've never done it before. But like, once you do it once, you're like, what have I been waiting for?
Exactly. Tell me, like, I guess, and maybe we've touched on this, maybe we haven't, but like, what's something that like you feel like everyone is trying to do, but you guys have maybe figured it out, or you figured out a different way to do it?
I don't think we have anything figured out. It might all look perfect and pretty from the outside, but I mean, every day is a battle, figuring it out. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I think just a lot of people are old school and don't want to accept new ways of doing stuff. New materials, 3D designs, online marketing, social media. I mean, there's a lot of guys doing it, but the guys that are doing it, most of the guys doing it are crushing it, and there's a lot of people that aren't even doing it.
Do you think a lot of the guys who are doing things like social media or digital marketing and things like that, do you think they're crushing it almost by default because the space is kind of not super flooded yet?
I mean, it depends on your area. I think that's a good question.
I've got a big thing on this. So, like we said, there's a lot of those bigger companies around us doing all those natural stone jobs and things like that with the older clients. So they don't advertise, they don't market at all. At this point, it's all word of mouth. With us being on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Google, that's where all of the younger crowd is. So that's what allows us to do our paver designs and stuff like that. That's a very good way to bring in your ideal client because there's not 65-year-olds on Instagram,
Yeah,
a lot of
go where your customers are.
Exactly.
And it's actually funny. We got a lead in Virginia, another state, and the lady messaged us. She's like, hey, I've been following you on Instagram. I love what you guys have been posting. And then we did a design. We sent her a proposal, a couple revisions. We don't have a signed deal yet, but she found us on Instagram by TechnoBlock, by you guys sharing us. So you guys shared our post, you started following us, and we got a lead from it. It's crazy. But, I mean,
it's that simple. Like,
yeah, literally. And it's also, you can go on Facebook, you can make a post, and you can boost it, and you can literally target any age that you want. You can target an income. You can target a 1 mile radius around an address. So we've done, like, they have those cookie cutter communities. Because like, every job we do is not huge. And honestly, we make more money on the small jobs that we bang in and out. It's just nice to have those big ones because they look awesome. They're fun. And you can park your guys for a long time on the job. But we would do like in a cookie cutter community, maybe there's like 100 of the same houses pretty much. And we did a patio for them, a little landing and stairs coming down. nice little drone picture that takes 1 minute that Danny flies a drone up, shoots a picture, posts it on Facebook, and then you can target a 1 mile radius around that house. So like, and you go to make, hey, we just did your neighbors, let's do yours. I mean, you just got to trial and error.
Yeah. But there's a lot of things that you just said that are super smart. And to me, it just shows kind of your bigger picture thinking. Like even the detail of like, we completed the project. Let's be mindful to get the final shots. Let's fly the drone over. Let's hit all the neighbors because they all have a property just like this one. And they're all about the same age with about the same income. And they all would love this because it would fit perfectly for them. Like it's just thinking the next step ahead all the time. And I see that through everything that you guys have told me, whether it be that little marketing tip right there, or whether it be the investment at the start of our conversation, where you look at how much is this going to cost? How much could I earn? I could earn significantly more than this costs, and it's exponentially more than if I don't have it. This is a no-brainer. I'm making that decision. So just kind of looking like bigger picture, where do you want to go? So on that topic, you're at how many employees now on your team?
Right now, so we have 9 guys in the field. We had like 11 in the summer. We have 9 guys right now in the field. I have 1 driver that drives a roll-off truck because we're starting to do some dumpsters, and he runs materials to our jobs. So that's 10. Danny's 11, and then we have 1 secretary. So that's 12 people.
Okay. So, and how many projects are you building a year on average?
Yeah,
I mean, it's only 2 years.
I'd say we did over 100 this year. You know, so I mean,
over 100 projects.
Some jobs that are half day. I mean, we've done some small landscape cleanups, you know, and actually, and another thing that we did through the end of the year, we started to implement a $5,000 project minimum. So that was another pre-qualification.
Yeah. There you go.
Which helped us get less crazy, just because we wanted to get into some bigger stuff. But yeah, just over 100 jobs. So yeah.
So do you have any goals for 2021 that you've already set? Whether they're hard goals or soft goals that you're still building towards?
Yeah, I mean, we grew, I think, right around 3 or 4x from 2019 to 2020.
Yeah, 2019 we did just under 600,000 in revenue. Started with 2 guys in like March. By the end, I think we had 6 guys in the field, and that's when Danny came and worked for me. And Danny called me. He graduated college, and he called me and said, "Hey, like I don't want to sit in a cubicle all the time. I'm starting to do these designs. Can I get a job?" And I'm like, I can't afford this, dude. That like I was still running out of my house, and I was like, you know what? Whatever. Creativity follows commitment. You know, you commit and you just figure it out later. Get creative. So yeah, 600, and then this year we just did a little bit over 1.8 million. So triple this year. But
yeah, I mean, that's I know a lot of people watching this, listening, are going to say, well, we don't care about your revenue, and to be honest, we don't either, and that's why next year we're trying to stay the same size so we can figure out all of our processes, get more efficient, and profit a lot more. We'll be the first ones to tell you we didn't profit a ton, but it's like we weren't charging as much as we probably could have on these larger jobs, but it got them under our belt. We got experience. We now know what it takes to finish them, and it also builds our portfolio. We wouldn't have had those pictures on Instagram without with probably charging a little bit less and getting the job. So that's definitely a goal for next year, is stay around the same revenue income size, but net a lot more and just become more efficient.
Yeah, and make it easier. Easier day to day. And then what about designs too? We want to push designs hard.
Yeah, designs. We're trying to push hard. We would love to see $200,000 in designs. This year, I think we did right around 60 or 70,000. Hopefully, double that, and maybe bring on a designer and possibly a video person by the end of the year. Yeah. Start pushing content and start designing out of just Maryland, get all across the country.
I like it. So rather than continuing this climb, I was just going to say, rather than continuing this climb to just keep pounding out more jobs and get more customers, like, okay, we're at a pretty good size. If we can optimize and we can, implement certain processes and build up the profit a little bit, this business becomes really interesting. So the things you've identified are processes, are selling more designs, because the costs associated to selling designs is significantly less than selling a project, right?
Yeah.
and you want to be able to build a bit better content as well. I'm just summarizing kind of what you said, and that part of that is getting a videographer or video person on staff, or like just building a relationship with someone as a subcontractor, or like what are you thinking there?
I mean, it all depends. Hopefully, I mean, if we're cranking out these big jobs, they could be full time where they're videoing the process. We do like longer form videos on YouTube, teaching people how to build it, how we go through our day to day, and then also when we're done, they can post the final. I call them hype videos, where it's just a really cool video to throw on Instagram, and people see the final product. But that's a goal. I mean, it may not happen this year, maybe next year.
Yeah, I mean, right now we use a guy that will come, like, we have the drone, he'll come and he'll film, and then he'll edit it. Because, I mean, it takes hours and hours to edit stuff.
That's
so we'll use
shooting's one thing, editing's another.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll use a subcontractor now, and it would be awesome to have. I'd rather bring someone on that, like, oh, you're not just a film, you're our full-time marketing person. So, like, you're in charge of ads, you're in charge of mass email marketing. You're in charge of sending an email to every client after we finish for a review on Google, and put that in all the other ones. And something else that we want to do is make like books for every job that we do. Like make a book for them with the whole process through. Put our logo name on the front, and then they can leave it on their coffee table at their house. And then when their friends are over looking at their back spot, there's a book right here, the whole progress. So like, there's so many ideas that we have that as we build a team and get bigger, that we'll be able to kind of execute. But something about the designs, so like the designs are a great source to bring in big jobs for the company, but we're trying to turn that more, as designs aren't just bringing us leads, but they're also bringing us revenue. So like, we want to do 200,000 in designs, but not have like, that's all extra. Just
they're not all jobs they're selling.
Right.
Exactly. So like, and then say we had a full-time designer and they made $50,000 a year. That would be another $150,000 for the business, and there's no overhead on that besides that one person, and then sitting in an office that we already have. So like, there's definitely other ways to branch out and make more money and build the forest, as Danny says, and not just going the landscaping a lot bigger. Not that we don't want to do that down the road, but just for kind of 1 year to.
I love it. Just one thing, I maybe you want to take this idea, but I love that idea of like the little coffee table books for the customer.
Yeah, he's giving away all the secrets.
You can make that as like little case studies on your website too. So it's for a homeowner trying to understand what the process is of dealing with Oasis. Like you can have like a process page or like a project stories page or something like that that's walking them through that whole thing. And you already made the content for them. But my idea is don't make it for one person, make it for thousands of people so it continues to benefit your business. That's just like all the other content you're making.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Like, I definitely like that.
You can take it.
There's so many ideas out there. Is the thing.
There are so many ideas. That's it.
You just need to bring the good people in to execute on them, because no one person, and that's something else about like what you mentioned before about whatever like people in the industry think. Like, you can't do everything by yourself, and a lot of people think, and it's hard at first to not be on the job the whole time and not be the one installing the pavers and bringing guys on, but a lot of the times, the guys that you bring on do a better job than you, and you just don't. It's like a mental barrier that you just got to get through. And then now it's like these guys are doing stuff that I'm like, I mean, I know how to do it. Am I going to do it faster? Probably not. So, like, that's another kind of old school thing.
No, I agree. I don't know how often I have that conversation, whether it be with contractors or even ourselves at the office. Like, it's hard to let go of things that you can also do. But I think it's really important that you recognize the things that only you can do or that you clearly do best for your company and try to put yourself in that position as often as possible. And if there's something that's keeping you from doing that, determine, are you the right person to do it or should you get someone else? And like having Danny doing the sales and designs allows you to focus on other parts of the business, and that's what makes a better team. And that's what really makes a business, succeed and tick is having the right people in the right spots, all contributing and all working together as a team.
Yeah,
definitely.
I like it. Let's wrap up here with a couple real quick questions. One thing is, I'm going to be selective here. You've said a bunch of things that you just tried, but like, what's one thing that you tried that has had surprising results? So you really weren't expecting that kind of result out of it.
I mean, I'd say the consultation fee, at least for me, I wasn't really on board. Danny mentioned it multiple times. I was kind of, I don't know. You don't want to, I don't know what the saying is, something about like the hand that's feeding you, you don't want to cut off the hand that's feeding you, like you're crazy. And surprisingly, it worked out well.
Yeah,
what's a resource? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Danny.
No, going along with that, I mean, also the $5,000 minimum. It does.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of people upset, and that's why we have a few bad Google reviews because of it. But we need to think about building our brand and our style as well, and we don't want to be doing $2,000 landscape cleanups for years to come. We want to be doing.
You want to be in control.
Right.
And there's something also to that where a lot of guys that I see will start mowing, and then they start mulching, and then they start plants, and they do a little pet. So like there's something where we're getting these bigger jobs, and then now let's circle back around and now let's start maintenance, but let's only do maintenance on the big jobs that we're spending, because a lot of people that are spending a lot of money on their project, they just want it to be perfect, and they're not going to mow a lawn themselves, or they don't want to have to deal with weeding it. Just because they have more important stuff to do, and maybe they have a business that they're going to be making more money doing that than going mowing a lawn. So that's something that to think about. We're like, it's not like we're going to do it right now, but maybe in future years about some goals where maybe we could bring on a maintenance division, servicing the.
Well, what I like about that is you're getting recurring revenue from the same customer, so your cost of acquisition drops over time. Because or not your cost of acquisition, but your cost versus the revenue that it generates. Like it may cost you, let's say, I don't know, $50 to generate a lead for your business. If you turn that into a $20,000 project, that's one thing. If you turn into a $20,000 project with a $2,500 recurring revenue every single year, that's a whole other thing. And then you have a lifetime value to associate to people. So I really like that idea.
And you have a relationship with those people where if they sell that house and they go to move to another house, they're going to be calling you again. It's not like it was 10 or 15 years ago, or 10 or 8 or 5 years ago you did something for them and they forgot about you. You're there every single week.
And another thing is, like, just with regards to warranties and things, if you're maintaining the property, you're able to catch things that may be going wrong way earlier than waiting until, like, I don't know, I'm going to invent a scenario, but let's say there's a pergola that's starting to tilt over. You can fix it before it falls or before it becomes a problem,
Yeah, 100%.
What's a resource or a tool or a channel that you think isn't being used enough or isn't being used properly by people in our industry?
I'll say the Facebook private groups. I know there's a lot of them out there. We're a part of a few of them. I think there's so much information, and there's just intel from so many people that are just killing this industry that you can learn from. And they see you're paying to be in the Facebook group just like they are. They're 100% willing to help. I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah, I mean, so Danny, plug here, because we wouldn't be doing what we are if we didn't have these groups that we're in. So Danny's in Jack Kelly's group. It's Imagine, Design, and Build. And I'm in Tigran Gert's group, the guy that made a YouTube video about me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's key.
And then,
I think that's really key.
What was that?
I think that's really key that young business owners or business leaders recognize that, again, that whole going back to that mindset of a market of abundance, like there's way more customers than you can ever do business with. So if you look at every guy out there as your competitor, you're hurting yourself. Yeah. Like there's so many people that you can talk to, you can exchange with. And I mean, that's kind of the motivation behind doing this show too, is like, let's just talk. Let's just get the information out there. And you know what? If someone copies your idea, so be it.
Right.
They can't beat you if they're copying you. The best they can do is match you. So what's the problem?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a very powerful thing to be surrounded by, even if you're not hanging out with, I mean, this day and age, you can FaceTime people, you can call them, being surrounded by like-minded individuals that are all pushing to do better. Mm-hmm. Like, it's definitely a really important thing. And the group that I'm in is like $100 a month. And I have learned, I went to college for a year. How much was that? Like $20,000, right? I've learned more in this group for 2 years or whatever for what is that, $2,400, and I learned at $30,000 in college. So like it's crazy, or $20,000 in college. It's crazy that people like there's so many different online courses and stuff, which like a lot of people are, oh, it's a scam. All right, but you're gonna pay all this money to go get this university education where you can go straight to the source of someone that's doing exactly what you want to do, and they're gonna give you information on it. So like that's a huge thing that's helped us. Even local guys, I go to guys, hey, like, how do I do this? We've bid on jobs against guys that I've created relationships with, and we're friends with them. Like, oh yeah, what'd you bid? Like, oh, like we've lost jobs to guys that bid it higher than us that like we're buddies with that are in the area. So like you said, there's so much work out there, and if you want to do something, you just got to go direct to the source to do it, to see what the possibilities are. Because like you don't know what's possible if you haven't seen it.
No, that's it. And that's really part of our motivation with this whole thing, building the podcast and building the online courses that we're building, and building the hardscaper.com website with the events and everything. We don't want to have any reason for any professional in this industry to not find the success and to not grow that the way that they want to, and have lack of access to information or lack of access to learning be the reason why. Like there's no reason. It's 2021. There's so much information out there. We're just trying to get it all together where it's easy to find so that you can keep building the business that you want to build. And you guys have done a tremendous job with what you've started so far. It's really exciting to see two young guys with so much fire, so much passion, and so much willingness to take the leap and to take those risks. They're all calculated risks, but they're all risks that are resulting in big payouts for the company, growing the company. And I mean, honestly, like, congratulations to you guys. You guys are doing a phenomenal job, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey, can I plug? I just made a YouTube channel. So Alex Mewshaw on YouTube. Check it out. I'm doing just videos of our projects. A lot of tech block favors. I'm gonna make like a little shop tour video. I don't know, just it's cool to kind of share what we're doing. And if anyone has any other questions, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram. So we both have that.
So that's at Build Oasis on Instagram. You want to say that YouTube channel again?
It's just Alex Mewshaw, my name. AlexMewshaw.
Spelt it right.
Awesome. And we'll put that information in the show notes as well. So if anyone wants to check that stuff out, we'll put that link to that 500K in debt YouTube video as well. And you guys were saying you have a video of the design of that project we were referring to with the kitchen and the putting green and all that.
Yep.
So if you guys want to share that, we'll put that in there too.
Oh yeah, I actually texted you that link, so you can throw it in there.
Okay, very cool. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. Really appreciate spending some time with you today. Really like your honest answers and your real transparency with how you're building a really impressive business. So once again, congratulations and thanks a lot.
Sounds good. Yeah, we're honored to be on here too.
Definitely.